Many of us grow up thinking there's just one place to call home, our Earth. But do you know that there are thousands of worlds beyond our own solar system? Since 1995, scientists have discovered over 4,000 of these distant planets, known as exoplanets. A big chunk of these findings comes from NASA's Kepler space telescope, which took to the skies in 2009 with a mission to find out how many Earth-like planets are out there in the Milky Way galaxy. The idea of finding another Earth, a place where life as we know it could exist, excites astronomers around the world. Recent discoveries tell us that small, rocky planets, much like our own, aren't rare at all. So let's explore the vast and mysterious worlds lying far beyond our solar system. Planet 1, Proxima Centauri b. Proxima Centauri b is a special planet that's not too far from us, just 4 light-years away, which in space terms is like being a neighbor. This planet is the closest one we've found outside our solar system, and it was discovered not too long ago in 2016. When we talk about its size, Proxima Centauri b is a bit bigger than Earth, having 1.27 times Earth's mass. This planet orbits around Proxima Centauri, which is the star it gets its name from. What's interesting is that it sits in a spot that could be just right for life, known as the habitable zone. This zone is a special area around a star where it's not too hot and not too cold, making it possible for liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. But Proxima Centauri b has a challenging environment because it's very close to its star. It's so close that it goes all the way around its star in just 11.2 days. Being this close has its downsides. Proxima Centauri b gets hit with a lot of ultraviolet radiation from its star. Ultraviolet radiation is a type of light that's too strong for our eyes to see, but it can be harmful. It's the same kind of light that causes sunburns here on Earth when we're out in the sun too long without protection. So even though Proxima Centauri b is in the habitable zone, this intense radiation could make it a tough place for life as we know it to survive. Planet 2, TRAPPIST-1. E. TRAPPIST-1. E belongs to a group of 7 Earth-sized planets that orbit the star TRAPPIST-1. What makes these planets stand out is that they're all close to the size of Earth, and several of them, including TRAPPIST-1e, are in the habitable zone. The TRAPPIST-1 system is quite far from us, about 40 light-years away, but it has captured the imagination of people all over the world. Scientists think that water might have been common on these planets at some point, but it could have evaporated away on many of them as the system evolved. However, studies in 2018 brought exciting news. They suggested that some of the planets, including TRAPPIST-1e, might still have a lot of water, maybe even more than Earth's oceans. TRAPPIST-1e is particularly interesting because it's thought to be the most Earth-like of the TRAPPIST-1 planets. This means it might have the right conditions for life. The planet isn't too hot or too cold, and if it has water, then there's a chance it could support life forms, at least in theory. Planet 3, Kepler, 1649c. Kepler, 1649c, is a planet that was hiding in plain sight until scientists took a second look at old data from NASA's Kepler space telescope. Initially, a computer mistake made it seem like this planet was something else. But in 2020, people realized that it was actually a planet, and not just any planet, but one that's a lot like Earth. This exciting discovery happened 300 light-years away from us, which is pretty far. This planet is really similar to Earth in size, being only 1.06 times larger. That's close enough to make scientists think it could be a lot like our home. When it comes to light, Kepler 1649c gets about 75% of the light that Earth gets from the sun. That might sound a bit dimmer than here, but it's enough to make the planet potentially habitable. Kepler 1649c also orbits its star in the habitable zone. We know water is super important for life as we understand it, so finding planets in this zone is a big deal. Planet 4, Gliese 667cc. Gliese 667cc is 22 light-years away, and it's got some interesting features. It's quite a bit heavier than Earth, being at least 4.5 times more massive. This planet whips around its star in just 28 days, which might sound super fast compared to Earth's 365-day orbit, but there's a good reason for this speedy trip. The star it orbits is a red dwarf, which is a type of star that's smaller and cooler than our Sun. Now, you might wonder how a planet so close to its star that it completes an orbit in less than a month could possibly be in the habitable zone. The thing is, since Gliese 667c's star is cooler than the Sun, the planet doesn't get too hot despite being so close. This puts it right in the sweet spot where scientists think conditions might be right for life, at least as we understand it. Because Gliese 667cc is so close to its red dwarf star, it might face some challenges. Red dwarfs can be a bit temperamental, often throwing out flares. These flares are like huge explosions that send out a lot of energy, and if Gliese 667cc gets hit by one, it could be like getting blasted by a giant space torch. This means the planet might have to deal with more than just a sunburn. It could affect the whole environment. The discovery of Gliese 667cc was made possible by the European Southern Observatory's 3.6-meter telescope in Chile. This telescope helped astronomers spot the planet and figure out some of its key details, like its size and how quickly it orbits its star. Planet 5, Kepler, 442b. Kepler 442b was discovered and announced to the public in 2015. This planet is bigger than Earth, about 33% larger, which makes it one of the many exoplanets that have been found in the vastness of space. It completes one full orbit every 112 days, which is different from Earth's 365-day year, but still close enough to make scientists take a closer look. This planet is quite a distance from us, sitting 1,194 light-years away. That means the light we see from its star left over 1,000 years ago. Despite this great distance, Kepler 442b has become one of the focal points for researchers trying to understand more about potentially habitable planets beyond our solar system. In 2021, a study published in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society gave us even more reason to be curious about Kepler 442b. The study looked at how likely it is for different planets to support life, specifically through the process of photosynthesis. The researchers found that Kepler 442b gets enough light from its star to possibly have a large biosphere. In simple terms, this means that if there are plants or plant-like life on Kepler 442b, there could be enough sunlight for them to thrive. Planet 6, Kepler 186f. Kepler 186f is only about 10% larger than our planet, which is pretty close in the grand scheme of things. This planet is special because it sits in the habitable zone of its star. However, Kepler 186f is on the outer edge of this zone, meaning it gets less energy from its star compared to what Earth gets from the Sun, about 1/3 to be exact. The star that Kepler 186f orbits is a red dwarf. Because of this, even though Kepler 186f is in the habitable zone, it's not an exact twin of Earth. The light from a red dwarf star is not as bright as our Sun, and this affects the amount of light and warmth Kepler 186f receives. This planet is far from us, about 500 light-years. Despite this distance, the discovery of Kepler 186f is a big deal because it adds to our understanding of the types of planets that exist in the universe. Scientists and space enthusiasts wonder about the conditions on the surface. Could there be water? What about the atmosphere? Is it possible that some form of life exists there, even if it's just simple organisms? These are big questions that researchers are trying to answer by studying the planet. Planet 7, Kepler 452b. Kepler 452b is a world that caused excitement when astronomers announced its discovery in 2015. This planet is special because it's one of the first one we've found that's close to Earth's size and orbits a star just like our Sun. It's 60% larger than Earth, making it a bit bigger but still familiar in some ways. The star this planet orbits, called Kepler 452, is also very similar to our Sun but just a bit larger by about 10%. This similarity gives us hope that the conditions on Kepler 452b could be somewhat like those on Earth. The planet is in the habitable zone. Kepler 452b is quite far away from us, about 1,400 light-years, which means it's not a place we can visit anytime soon. However, knowing it's out there is fascinating. It takes the planet about 385 days to complete one orbit around its star, which is just 20 days longer than an Earth year. The size of Kepler 452b suggests it has a good chance of being a rocky planet. Rocky planets are the ones we think could have solid surfaces where oceans and possibly life could exist. Is it possible that we will find a suitable planet for our life forms to inhabit in the future? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe.